So in this video we're going to look at the else if command in Python, and this is where we're going to do an if statement, but not just one if statement. Often you'll be testing against, I guess you're testing against one condition, but there are multiple possible outcomes. So to give you an idea what I mean is I've just sort of set up the start of a program here where a user can enter their score from 0 to 100, and the program will give them a grade. And so if they get from 90 to 100, they'll be assigned a grade of A. And with a normal if statement, it would either say yes, it's from 90 to 100, which would be true, and if it's not, then it would be false. It would deliver another statement. What we want to do though is we want to check, I guess, three things. Did they get in the 90 to 100 range? It's an A. If not, did they get in the 70 to 89 range? In which case they score a B. If not, check if they're in the 50 to 69 range, and so on. So there's a few checks that we need to do. We probably also need to check that they actually enter some valid data. So we probably should check and see if they have a score that is not between 0 and 100. So anyway, the way it works is we start off with our ordinary if statement. So I'm just going to say if our score is less than 0 or our score is greater than 100, we're just going to print something like invalid score. So we just don't have to worry about grading that at all. And that's when we can start doing the other if statements, checking the other scores. So in this case, our else if looks like this, elif. And that means really just check this if statement too, so we can put another condition in. So in this case, I'm going to say, well, what if the score is greater than or equal to 90? Now we know that it can't be more than 100, because if it was, we would have got the invalid score result. So in this case, then I know that he got an A, so you scored an A. Now if they don't score greater than 90, let's check the next condition below that, which would be, did they score in the 70 to 89? So let's again, else if. So another if statement, so another condition, if that score is greater than or equal to 70, in which case they score a B. And again, we can do another else if statement. If the score is greater than or equal to 50, which means it's in the 50 to 69 range, then we say print you scored a B, C, sorry. And finally, what it should finish with is an else statement. So that's if all those if statements above are false, so we just keep moving down, then we get to the else statement, in which case print you failed. Brutal and to the point. So the way it works, I guess, is that we have our first conditional check. We check these conditions. If either of those are true, then this happens. However, if they're not true, if it's false, we're going to go to the next line. Now this is another condition we're checking. If that's true, we'd do this. If it's not, we'll go to the next line and check if that condition is true, and so on, all the way down to the point where if all conditions above were not true, in other words, they were false, then we get to our else statement. So if we just run this now, if I enter a score in here that is outside our boundary range, so 105, tells me it's invalid. If I enter a score of say 35, this should fail all the tests, so the else will kick in and it tells me that I failed. And one last check, let's just see if I scored a 91 or 90, can't type, that should be an A, and it works. Okay, so there you have it. That is how to do an else if statement in Python.